Well, hello and welcome to This and That. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. And drum roll, please.
Drum roll, we have Igor Lukanin here. Igor, did I say your name correctly? Because when I talk to you about other people, I never know how to pronounce your last name the real way.
Well, actually, you're the one who pronounces it correctly. So you don't need to worry about it, Dave.
I'm good? Okay. So everyone, Igor has a new skating class. We're doing an adult edge class for all of the adult skaters in North Jersey. He's going to do on the weekends, and he's here to tell us about it. So Igor, tell us about, your love of the adult skaters, why we are your favorite, and what your new class is about.
Well, adult skating, it's a major support of figure skating in general. Without adult skaters, I personally don't think that figure skating worldwide would be as successful and as popular as it is. And in regard to my skating class, I started my off-ice skating technique class during the quarantine, and it became very popular and demanded. And I started thinking about trying to transfer that idea on to the Ice and Connect 2 classes. And then with the help of Montclair State University Arena, I was able to achieve that goal. And next Saturday, I'm gonna have the on-ice skating technique class. It's like an H class for adult skaters mostly. And then on Sunday, the next day after that, I'm gonna have the off-ice skating technique class, which gonna review what we did on ice the day before.
Okay, so we're going to be able to do the stuff Saturday on the floor.
No, Saturday.
Yeah.
Hi, Debbie.
Now, we have other friends of yours who wanted to talk about. Igor, we had some of your good friends that wanted to talk about your exercise classes that they really enjoy doing.
Oh, thank you. Of course. I
Wait, it pushes me in the morning with Kristen to get ready, get up early, get ready, and it really starts my day. It's not like I'm loving to do exercise, but when I don't do it, I regret it. It really energizes me, and I regret that I miss a lot of the classes at night with Igor because I'm working. If you could schedule them a little later, or maybe you want to maybe you need to work out a little longer, and you need like an extra class. You can always ask me, and you could
my Debbie class.
You could do an individual, one-on-one, and then you can critique me a little more.
I will consider that, Debbie.
Okay. I think the classes are great, and it really pushes me because I've always been a biker for a long time. We've gone to the gym for 10 years or so, and we've always been exercising, but not to this level. So I have to say I enjoy it. I like to complain to you, but it's been fun.
It's a love and hate relationship then, right?
They both imitate you, Igor.
Sorry, Dave?
They both imitate you.
No, Dave imitates you, and we like
he does too, and yes.
Hey, come on, I'm not that kind of...
But now Igor, I have to ask Igor, with 3 least people taking your classes, do they all have similar learning styles and energy, or do you find them different kind of teaching energy?
Well, let me put it this way. They put a lot of demand on me.
All three.
The preparation stage for the classes are completely different when I know that they are coming.
Fair enough.
Probably a lot more feedback.
Well, Pete has never done push-ups like he's done for you, ever, and it's good motivation for him.
It's true.
So that's good.
Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it and don't hate me too much.
I won't say that, but
Igor, there's an expression in America about an apple falling not far from the tree.
Yeah. It's not.
I wonder what he means by that. I guess he takes after Pete a lot. I don't know.
He must be.
Okay, Mom, but we're going to let you go to talk about Igor.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
She has to work her iPad. Yes. So Igor, what are we doing for? She just logged in before she was prompted. So
Eager.
Yes.
What are we doing? I'm sorry, I missed the question.
So we're gonna work on Saturdays. We're gonna do the stuff on the floor and then on the ground. You need all the good adult skaters. You need Nancy, who broke her jaw, but was skating before the doctor allowed her back. You need Jan, who sharpens my skates in his basement and has 2 boys who skate. This is the kind of commitment you need in your class, Igor.
Yes, I know, and it would be. I would be very happy if all of you guys gonna come and join me Saturday on ice and Sunday off ice, Dave.
Okay, and how can people sign up, Igor?
They can go into our website, krigorstudio.com, or they could send us the direct message via social media, and we're gonna help them to find it.
Okay. And do you have any other exciting? So Jonathan, Igor has a lot of our favorite friends participate in his class. He did a jump class with Surya Bonali on Friday. He brings in Victor from Ukraine. He has Nikolai teaching us how to express when a planet is forming, all the way from Russia. So we are really getting some of our favorite personalities.
Video, remember that? When they did the Planet series, they must have had something to do with it.
Yes.
But I have to say, it's been intriguing to watch all of the stuff you've been offering on, you know, on an internet format, because I felt like, Igor, you were one of the first ones to kind of publicize all of this early on in the quarantine. It was really interesting for me to see what could really be done off ice. Like Dave went for it times 100 during that period of time. Everyone else was like at home gaining weight.
I worked harder than Isadora, right, Igor?
That's for sure, Dave. And Jonathan, I will take your idea a little further. It was very interesting for us to watch how we can develop that. Because we started literally a week before we knew that we're gonna get shut down. I think it was March 9th when I decided to hold my first online conditioning class. And before I did nothing as far as online teaching goes. So I had no clue what I'm doing. And then 2 weeks later, we decided to start advertising our classes. And then we created a website, and then we started off inviting guests. And before we knew, we have this studio, what, you know, we are running on.
You had a huge lineup of guests, right?
Yeah.
Who else?
We had Meryl Davis, we had Charlie White, Alena Savchenko, Nikolai Morozov, Victor Petrenko, Tatiana Volosazhar. Whom else did we have?
Timmy Gable, your good friend.
Timmy Gable, my very, very good friend, Timmy Gable.
La Shai, who has been on our show many times.
Right.
Even though she doesn't like that you call jumping technique J technique. She says that sounds like something an ice dancer came up with. So.
Well, we are trying to come up with
Jewish technique.
And we are ice dancers, so that's, you know, that's exactly what happened. We were trying to have intriguing names for our classes to just draw people's attention and offer something unique, not only to the only to the name, but to the contest of the class as well. So, and then we had an amazing team who gathered around us and helps us to do that. We have our team now consists of 5 people. So, and we are trying to keep that product going and try to make it as interesting to the figure skating public worldwide as possible. And we had a lot of people coming, not only from US, but from the outside of the US. We had people from Australia, South Africa, Sweden, France, Germany, Russia.
But I mean, it's one of the real bright sides about what this has done for education in some ways. No, it's never the same, obviously, as if you're in person, but like the ability to now continue work with people overseas just instantly. And having worked out the kinks, like, was there a learning curve for you in figuring out how to teach these kinds of things online versus in person?
Definitely, because as I said, I've never taught anything online. It was always in person. And the biggest challenge for me was how to keep the participants of my class interested in my class or any of our classes. So for all of our instructors, including Christine and me, that was definitely a learning curve. We were trying to figure out how to make it happen and how to get involved only in two learning abilities, which is verbal and visual, because you don't have the physical aspect to that type of learning. And I think so far we are succeeding. And thanks for our great coaching staff. We have an amazing coaching staff who are doing our weekly classes. I mean, not only guests, but we have Serzhonik, we have Anya Demidova, we have an amazing faculty of coaches.
So if there's a second wave, Igor, this is what we need to do. You need to get more insurance, and we will have Surya do a backflip class, and everyone can just get their couch cushions. We can practice this way,
Well, we have that was another challenge what we were dealing with. It's getting an insurance, because once we start doing that, we start contacting insurance companies and trying to insure the studio, and the response from the insurance company was that we don't have a product for you guys. I'm sorry. And finally, we found a company which was working with us and created a product for us, and gave us an amazing coverage. So, but that was the challenge as well. It took us a couple months to figure that one out.
Okay. And since you're here, we can ask you, do you think Annabelle is going to be an Olympic champion one day, Igor? I'm trying to convince Jonathan on her greatness as an ice dancer. And do you think that she has all of the charisma she needs to win?
I think she has a charisma, and I think she has a technical skill. Mm-hmm. The thing with becoming an Olympic champion, you can be trained and you can be the most amazing athlete on the planet, but unless you were born to be an Olympic champion, it will not happen. There's much more than just a skill to be an Olympic champion. There are certain things what has to happen in the universe for you to become one. So therefore, my answer is yes, she's definitely capable of being one, but what happens, only time will show.
And this is like Russian astrology. I like it, Igor. Okay, it's
it's the anti-Dave.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Dave.
Well, thank you very much, Igor, and I will be taking your class, and hopefully we get, all of the proper adult skaters that we need.
Yeah, it's so nice to finally meet the famous Igor doing all the things. This is great.
Yeah. Same for me as well, John. And I've been watching most of your broadcasts with Dave, and this is definitely not only entertaining, but it's
a big time commitment for you then. Yeah.
Yes, that's too.
Okay.
You're doing a great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Igor.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, welcome to This and That Part 2. We're just giving people Russians at the beginning every week, Jonathan.
Russian teasers, yeah, Russian attention grabbers. But, quelle surprise, was this the TSL debut of Debbie and Pete Lee's?
Yes, that was. And she
Peter, sorry.
It's okay. He goes by either.
Okay.
So. But he's a big Igor fan. But see, my mom is more upfront, but my dad imitates Igor too. So if I was jumping with Victor, my dad would still do the Igor class.
Okay.
And I would say, how is Igor today? Well, we do push-up. My dad can do the Igor impression as well, but he's too shy to do it to his face. But yes.
Fair enough. Yeah. He's a lady that way and just does it. Yeah.
Also a big Igor fan. So
but I'm gonna say, I think our viewers would have been very intrigued to see your parents. I think that's a fun.
Well, that's why I had them call in. I thought, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like a quarantine special. They're
That's right.
They're a part of the skating community now. So
Right.
they work. We have a lot of TSL viewers who do the Igor classes, and they work out with my parents.
Incredible.
So, yeah, my mom has a lot of comments all the time. So
I was going to ask you to do it. Are you on mute?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can like swear and be upset all about it on your own without everybody hearing.
No.
Okay.
So, Jonathan, there's been a lot of skating going on this week. So much has happened.
It rains of course, Dave. Yeah.
We had Nebelhorn, we had the Boston Open, and we have the ISP. And I have to say, because of the level of skating, it's reminded me of a sectionals weekend. I've almost been as excited And many people would say that they were excited by the ISP challenge or by Nebelhorn. No. That Boston Open was my favorite event that I have watched. I was more into watching those Mitchell Johansson method girls than anything else, okay?
Here's the thing that's really tough for me was that particular feed that I found had no sound. So I know
and that happened at the Hershey competition too, that they do it with.
I know what do you think that is?
I think it's probably the company being afraid of music rights and being afraid of having the live video muted on Facebook. Because if there are some songs that, depending on which, if it's Sony or if it's Universal or whoever does it, they'll like block the stream of the video so that no one can watch it. Was the Boston Open
making any money?
No, but this is like they paid for this, and I just don't think that they have everything hooked. I mean,
well, because where there's a will, there's a way. This is such tricky navigating, but like there's certainly a way to justify it. But if they didn't feel like messing with it, but I have to. I think
there's a lot of contractual things that you have to get in order for the ISU to do what they do with the Junior Grand Prix, and perhaps they don't have everything. That's just my supposition.
I mean, to me, if you're going to watch without the music, almost what's the point? But of course, then there's the joke to be made that like half these kids could turn off the music and we wouldn't notice the difference anyway.
And now we actually get to see what they're doing. Like, oh, she's doing a tango.
Yeah,
I can imagine. This is light, flowery Barbra Streisand type music. Okay, I got it.
It's going to be 4 minutes of nothing, and then she stabs herself at the end, and you're like, I guess that was Carmen the whole time, and I just didn't know it.
It was funny, like Ryan Dunk had like a sexy move in his program, but I didn't know it was playing. And yeah.
But don't you wish it was like Afternoon of a Fawn or something completely irrelevant?
I don't know what was happening in his free program. It was entertaining. So I don't. Yes, but one of the great Hackensack local girls beat all those Mitchell Johansson skaters at the Boston Open. And there's new drama going on in Boston, Jonathan.
Tell me.
Okay, so the new skating club of Boston just opened, and that's where the Boston Open was held, and it's beautiful. It's this beautiful, well-lit rink. I mean, it doesn't have like the ghost of Mariah Bell Vincent in there, or like where Tenley Albright learned.
Frank Carroll in the corner, yeah.
Tenley was not doing her grass skirt step in the new Boston Open.
Okay.
But there is like some sort of like new mural of Tenley tying her skates in the new one. It looks great. I want to visit. But the Letovs.
Stethoscope.
The Letovs moved from Texas to Boston, and the Mitchell Johansson has their own rink outside of Boston. So now we have a real intercity rivalry, which I think is going to make things interesting. I'm sure there will be coach hopping back and forth. I'm sure there will be animosity and screaming rich parents, and I think it's great. You know,
Was there ever an article? We interviewed Mark right after 2018 Nationals, which obviously the primary focus there was the Ross decision and his Olympic voting experience.
Which really shouldn't have been. When we are talking to Mark Mitchell, we should be talking about hair care, skin care, Armani suits. When is it, you know, how much is too much for a sweater? I mean, these are the kinds of things that Mark and Peter can really talk about.
The hot spots in P-Town or something like. Yeah. I mean, but I remember when they kind of broke away from the Skating Club of Boston and became this method. And again, at the time, it was mainly the fact that it was called a method that was just
and
like.
Everyone joked, yes.
Yeah. But I'm intrigued, was there a break or was there a reason? Was there a new arena that they wanted to do, or did they just.
Every skating club, everyone's branding themselves in skating these days. And it's a way to, you could love it or hate it, but look, Marie France has her own academy. They have their own, look, there is so much
leading the way in like total club branding. Yeah.
There is so much drama that happens in a skating rink between the coaches, between each other, the coaches and the parents, the coaches and the management. It makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
To have if you have that many students, you have your own that you don't have to share. You don't have to worry about soliciting oh my God, all those coaches hate each other at a rink.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend. Okay.
But I didn't know if this was so they could be in charge.
Unless it's the rink in the desert where Frank was coaching next to Evelyn Kramer, because they are like old friends. So that, I mean, that is the kind of rink where we could only dream of going there to Palm Springs, talking about old films. When stars were stars in the film. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we could talk about.
Okay.
Gus Lucy versus Mariah Bell. I mean, that was a special. That rink is no longer with us, unfortunately, because of quarantine. So anyway, it's lots of fun. Yes. But I have to say,
I watched a girl that you really liked so much.
Well, I write notes to the coach. Because again, Yulia Lautova, who coaches Lindsay, coaches my friend Nancy, who we've talked about, who had the broken jaw, who had plastic surgery, like thousands of dollars in dental work. She did something where she invented something with eyeglasses. I don't understand, but like she really like brilliant girl. And she now takes lessons from Yulia. And she always thought that Yulia was this really quiet, intense coach until I came on the session in my red tights. And then Yulia really, the personality started flying. You know, she really...
She's gonna let it out. I'm gonna let it out.
So, and Nancy will be like, I used to have the most quiet coach. And what happened? I don't know. You broke her. So.
You were her muse.
Nancy is a gem. She took dance lessons from Igor, who was just on. And she... You know, Nancy comes from a genuine love of skating where she loves to skate, but she doesn't know who all of the famous skaters are.
Isn't it funny? Because I'm almost the opposite. Yeah.
So Roman Kostomarov was on the ice skating around. I don't know where Navka was, but this is during that era. And she's working with Igor. Nancy goes to Roman and says, you should really compete. And Igor goes, he's the Olympic champion, Nancy.
I hope that he thinks that's amazing. Like, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like a classic thing that happened. So,
okay.
You know, not everyone follows skating. So, but now she does. Okay.
Yeah. Amazing.
Nancy didn't realize like what the skating lesson was when she first met me. She met me as a crazy adult skater.
Yeah.
Yes.
She puts the craft first.
Yes, she puts the craft first. And that's what we appreciate about her.
Okay.
But yes, Lindsay Thorngren won, and she got all of her jumps were cleanly rotated. So, and she had more speed here. So this is important. We need to work on the presentation with Lindsay. I would like you to change
that she can do and just needs to focus on. Or is she?
Yes, and I would like Yulia to change the music for the free, but Yulia's fighting it. But she's a difficult character. But it's okay. We like her. She got me ice when I got injured with Galina. And we expect these challenges from a Russian female who fought her way to the top. So,
there you go.
But Lindsay is skating very well. And the thing that I thought was so amazing is that her highest scores were from Lori Parker. Now, U.S. nationals, we really have to start paying more attention to the judges on this show, Jonathan, because Lori Parker is a political animal.
Right.
If this were Big Brother, she would be someone who would fly under the radar, always voting with the House of what the powers that be want up ahead, as if she talks to Mitch and Justin and like knows who they like, allegedly, or other judges who are in communication, and she always knows which way the wind blows. And I was looking at that protocol and I thought, that's amazing. Lori loves her. She gave her the best marks. Lori is
behind
her mother was the US judge when Tanya and Nancy were at the Olympics in '94. Her uncle is Hugh Graham, who is the father of Paul Wiley's pair partner, and he was the US judge at the '92 Olympics. So they have like lots of lineage.
Yeah.
And Dana also judges. So if Lori likes you, you can get like several judges on the panel. I think that's incredible. She was the one that went.
She seems to be a representative, maybe, of like where they want it to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so with these scores to qualify, you have to skate you have 2 chances to skate in these competitions that are replacing regionals and sectionals, which is smart because it's keeping all of these clubs and competitions alive.
Well, I was going to say, it's one of those things. At first I was confused. So when they announced all this sort of stuff, sorry, are we talking about ISP or are we talking about Boston Open right now?
No, we're talking about Boston Open, but we'll talk about ISP next. So.
Okay, I'm just like intrigued because I was like, I don't know that there's a reason they're not almost doing this every week in some capacity.
It will be.
Yeah. Okay.
So like the Boston Open, there's going to be another competition in Virginia where a lot of these skaters are. And they basically, my understanding is they can put up a score and then from that they'll qualify to nationals. And if I have that wrong, I'm sure a million people will correct us. And because there's not great communication from the USFS.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard for me to understand what the final narrative ended up being. You know, like, how is this shaking down?
So people will qualify to nationals from these competitions like Boston, there'll be in Colorado and in California. And that's how they're doing to really try to prevent some of the traveling with COVID, and they don't allow.
Which arguably, isn't that what regionals and sectionals was supposed to have been set up as initially? Like just regional competition to get to nationals?
Kind of, but there's more traveling, there's audience members, there's more people involved, and they really try to minimize the number of people who are in the rinks. They have masks on. It's not like the test skates in Russia. Like there are more protocols that are put in place. So, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how these all shake out, because I think it could be more challenging for certain skaters to qualify for nationals based on having to get a certain score against others. I think it could be potentially fairer. Obviously, everyone is going to complain that one competition is scored more generously than another, and that will be a big part.
After a certain number, the judges know that also. So if they want you there, you'll be there.
And they're all watching each of these competitions. If you're judging an event in Virginia, you're going to watch the Boston Open to see how they scored, because you always want to be within range, so you're asked back.
Right.
So.
But I'm telling you, if they move forward with this, they have got to figure out the music issue.
Yes.
Because I can't watch all of these. If
they should do it on the USFS fan zone. Come on, they have enough money and enough resources that they can do it, that they don't need a Facebook live stream.
Exactly.
But this company that does all of them, I'm sure, is making some money, but we need music because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, again, I'm thankful that I was able to see it at all, but it's like, if you want this to be taken seriously as a qualifier, you have to have music.
YouTube live with music. You could do that, right? Yeah. Because they'll only block it after, but there are ways you can work around to put the archive on the USFS site, but have the live one on YouTube, download the video and put it over there.
Right.
So this is what
like 101, yeah.
But anyway, parabens to Lindsay Thorngren for beating all of those Boston biatches, and it was a real showdown. Her, Emmy Ma, Ashley competed from the Letovs, and it was Hannah Harrell still injured. So, but the Letovs are interesting because for all of the Russianness, they don't focus on the edges as much as the arm choreography, the smoke and mirrors. It's all happening.
The bamboozlement.
All upper body, but they're Russian. Why are we not focusing on the edges as much?
Right.
All right, let's get into that ISP challenge, Jonathan. Because
okay, so here's first off, this is interesting because we were talking, Dave, about like if we were to set up Grand Prix before we knew what their plan was, and everyone was going to maybe do something like this, film from their rink and do all this sort of stuff. You know, here's the thing, you know, we're all going to watch it. You know, like this is the big debut. I might want to make sure that, I don't know, the ice surface was empty. Like the fact that like Jason Brown was like dodging people that were just standing there waiting to warm up during his program. I was like,
yeah, but do you think they were energizing him at the same point? It's so awkward.
I mean, on the ice. I mean, when they were physically on the ice. Yes, be in the audience.
I don't think they were on the ice. So cricket has no boards. That's the weird thing about like Philadelphia Humane Society or the cricket club is they have no boards. So people are standing there, and I don't know, that's some sort of like a surface where people can kind of hang out, and there, I guess, a chair along the rink where the coaches stand. But yeah, there's I don't think they were all really on the ice. Some were, some weren't.
Well, I mean, some guys were literally starting to warm up. And
Yeah.
in the same way, when Krasnozhan really bit it on the quadruple flip, there's like a random adult skater just like standing in front of him looking at him. And I was like, this is strange. Certain music things, some people's music I could barely hear, some people's faces I could barely see. Then like Mariah and Nathan did that thing where their music was like
Piped in over,
in
which
after.
I hate.
I know.
Always tell when a music is piped.
Although I have to tell you, the sound system in Dallas or wherever all the Texas monstrosities of music selections were coming from, like the speaker system was so poor in that arena. Like when Jimmy Ma was doing like a very energetic piece, you could barely hear it. It was so like muted and wonky in the background, the sound. So it's just sort of like, I hope that there can be some sort of consistency in the quality or way that it's being presented moving forward.
Yes, because when Gracie did her short program, it was so pixelated that you couldn't even see or hear what she was doing.
Exactly.
But it was very interesting because there were certain rules where you had to be a proctor and you had to like look at someone's timestamp on a phone to check. And there are lots of rules. There's already rumors that some people got more tries than others. It's everything that we love, right? Everything.
And that's what I knew this would open the door to someone pretending it was unfair and someone must have redone something. Or for instance, like Ashley and Tim, when they competed on that same ice surface, no one was on the ice. And then during Jimmy and Alex, people were on the ice all over the place while they were trying.
That's a different rink. They left the Canes. So that's...
Were they still at the same actual physical rink though?
I think they're... I don't know. I think they're at a different... I don't know Texas.
Still at the same Texas rink where it was like Tostitos and like all that sort of stuff on the side. But it sounds like I could be confused. So I'll just back down.
I'm not sure. I am not 100% sure. There's a lot of drama going on. We had someone passing out in, Amber Glenn passed out in cryotherapy, and I thought, are you really passing out from the cryotherapy? Or is this gonna be like-
I fell out of the tank, she said.
Right, but are we falling because of the cryotherapy? Are we falling because of other like skater issues? Like, I don't know, but I don't know that we should have posted that. That may be too much information.
Yeah.
Let that be a rumor, you know, let that.
Right, yeah, exactly. You can withdraw.
Yeah. But anyway, so the ISP challenge, they have 2 opportunities to do this. They had 1 shot, and then many people will try a second time. And it gives an opportunity for these skaters to obviously have a competitive experience. It keeps them going, and they can get some prize money. And it's really important for Alexa and Brandon because they are not really in the same envelope that they would have been, even though she just won nationals with Chris. Because they're no longer a team, my understanding is they don't get the Alexa and Chris funding that they would get. Which is kind of silly. Because I think that if you won nationals,
or something about where they can get half of this or something.
I don't know that that really works anymore. Like this changes, and this depends on so that used to be with the ISU points and stuff like that, but with funding, it's a little different. So they don't have the same funding as a new team that they would have had. And if you want one of those $4,000 Lisa McKinnon dresses, you know, you need funding, Jonathan.
Some are more worth that $4,000 than others.
Excuse me, a Lisa McKinnon original is worth every cent, okay? And I beg you to tell me differently, okay?
Well, was that what she was wearing, the purplish one this time around?
Okay, she has a new Lisa McKinnon original for the short program.
The red.
The red.
That was nice. I like that. Yeah.
The other one was an older dress. It may be a Lisa McKinnon.
The other one I didn't know was a success.
But wasn't that their Come What May dress? She wore, or one of them. No, wasn't that one of the ones that they did the Ghost program to at one point? She's worn that before.
Well, that color scheme was their Ghost color scheme, I think.
Yeah. So they've worn that dress, but that was not an original.
Okay.
I mean,
the record show. Yeah.
At the record show. It was the most Dave Lee's dress of all time that she wore in the short program.
Yeah, you want to start with the pairs? Tell me what.
Yeah, let's start with our girl Alexa. Okay, we got to see the debut of her and Brandon together. They did a cover of Linkin Park's "In the End" for the short program.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think? I thought that they technically looked pretty good, especially for the short amount of time.
Triple toes, just that timing was off. See, this is somewhere interesting in the process for me, because I sort of just thought like everything was due to Chris's injury before. Like, you know, their timing on the jumps and the this, that, and the other. And then when certain things carry over, you're like, oh, well, I guess maybe that was Alexa changing the timing at the last minute or something, because they almost experienced some sort of strange time delay this time around. And again, I'm sure there are a lot of knots to sort out when the first time you compete, even if it's in your own arena. But like, I thought the twist was good.
Not the same height as before.
No,
but it was good.
Yeah, I think like, especially for where it's starting, and they probably waited because they knew we were all going to compare it to the other massive one. But like, I think they'll get there. I think it looked pretty solid. I thought
they need to make it bigger because look, if you're Alexa, everyone is expecting you to have the biggest twist of all time.
Right.
So brand, like they need to work on that. But it was good and it was solid.
It seemed like they haven't kind of cemented together yet. That's where they see
everything is very new. Right. And it's new to be doing programs after quarantine when you haven't trained full out on the ice during this time. I think that the timing issue, they did it in both programs on the side-by-side jump. So I think that's something that they have to work out as a team. And I thought that overall it looked pretty good. I think the biggest thing is they need to really figure out their connection and their identity on the ice. And people have a lot of opinions on this. There's a lot of opinions that Haven really masked Brandon's performance before, that he always just kind of looks like a stooge out there and that he's just kind of doing his thing, but he's not really engaged facially.
Which is too bad because he's quite handsome.
He's quite handsome, but he gives nothing in the program and then gives full out right in the last part.
Yeah, which is why I think like programs like the ones Renee was giving them with the Lion King and stuff that were a bit more angular, a bit more active, were very successful. Like I was disappointed when the free started because I was like, no, this is like a diet version of the same thing Alexa and Chris always did. But that was also pushing this like lovey-dovey narrative. And we know this isn't lovey-dovey. And it's like, you know, music to me.
I have 17 thoughts that I don't want Alexa to kill me if I don't address them.
But it's because it's like, we're invested here. But like, for me, music in general, like it's primarily an emotional response when I listen to a piece of music. So I could actually create playlists curated just by emotion alone. Happy songs, excited songs. So many songs in the American programs right now would fall under like a sad song playlist or like a crying songs playlist. And it's when it's so low energy and so like this and just like kind of relaxing, it doesn't create like the energy. I think they need to be an in-your-face pair a little bit more. And maybe this is helping them develop those pair skills. Like the stroking looked good. Like I feel the cohesion starting to happen already, but as they go forward, I don't know that like another watered down, like lovey-dovey, like lyrical romantic program approach is the way to go here. I think that's more interesting than that.
I have thoughts. I am writing down bullets so I don't forget. Okay.
Hit it.
First thing, I do think they need Renee Roca. I told Alexa when I interviewed her that they need Renee Roca, but I know that they don't have money for that. I think they need Renee more than they need Benoit. I don't think we need the Benoit angles here, even though he can be very creative. Renee is right
almost
there.
Expected at this point. Renee was giving us something fresh.
Right. Even though that Lion King program, they rehashed from like 5 years earlier. I still think that she did such brilliant work, and she has interesting work with shapes that I think would be very effective. And I think that they need to create their own identity. It has to be very awkward to skate with a new man when you're being coached by your husband. And how do you figure out how to look at a pair guy when you're usually representing relationship and do that when your husband is the one on the side of the boards? It's just a very weird.
Well, it becomes more acting oriented then. And that's the thing. Like, so when she is most organic and you can kind of see Brandon and Alexa connect every now and then as real people, as honest Alexa and as honest Brandon. Like they'll just occasionally look at each other or something as they're going around a corner. And to me, that's so much more of a real connection versus this like put on look, now we're acting and emoting. It seems insincere. I'd rather just see them be themselves and be like,
we need to color her hair for a whole new look with a new team, I'm wondering. And then she can go back to blonde for the Olympic season. I'm just wondering if we need to like play with her hair color.
I think it starts with the music, as silly as that
It would
is.
look good in any hair color. I just think that it starts with the music. Right? I just think that we need a whole fresh thing because he is not giving us the emotion. And she used to have this hot piece of Chris Knierim next to her. Brandon doesn't give me that same machismo energy. So
Brandon has a lower energy, like a lower.
Brandon has the energy of a nice guy who is maybe on the board of a fraternity, but he's not giving us like movie star pair boy energy. And I think that we need to get him in some better Brian Johnson pants. And I think that we need to get him in, we need to figure out a better foundation color.
Like he stepped into the Alexa and Chris model.
I don't think that they're trying to make him Chris Knierim. I just think that they're trying to get something done. Now, in regards to the free, I don't like the free, but it's a first year
of course
pair program. They automatically just throw in Josh Groban or is this Bocelli or whatever this is. And I don't know what if it was a mishmash of both, whatever it was just very generic. That's what they give a first year team. They've been together for 6 weeks. They have no idea what to do. Put in some Italian sounding music. We'll do, you know,
lyricism, yeah.
Yeah, like that's what you do with the first year team. And that's why the first year programs are always terrible.
Does it look like he's throwing her higher than she's used to?
He throws girls crazy. And he did that with Haven, who had a lot of knee problems. But he does have problems. And people have said that Haven learned how to land her throws regardless of how he threw her. They are going to need to figure out how to throw Alexa better because she's not going to stand for that. Okay.
Yeah, literally. It looks like it will be physically hard to stay on her legs.
And I wouldn't want to.
And by that, do you mean too hard, too far? Because yeah, it's too.
She's not a medicine ball at the gym. We need to throw her properly with proper technique and control. This is a queen, okay?
Yeah.
This is.
Handle her delicately, yeah.
A temperamental queen, if you will.
Again, I felt like everything I was seeing, all the elements were there. It's clear they got to keep working, you know, as they meld together. It was just sort of some of the lift positions. I was a little like.
Well, remember we've talked to Alexa about pointing her toes, and I saw some
and I noticed that as much as I have noticed it in these two programs.
Here's my take on the Lincoln Park program. Love the idea of the cover right vehicle for them, but it goes on too long. And I actually think that they need to do a nice trick where they do the side-by-side step at the end, which is not their best element. I think that they need to re-choreograph it so that there is more interaction between them. If they could meet 2/3 down the ice and do like a circular type choreographic move and then continue, because it will give more interaction. And I think that that's when they need to use the original when he's like singing more in the Lincoln Park. I know that this is not your genre of music, Jonathan. You've probably never heard this song before, but it was very popular when we were all like having live journals about our feelings circa 2002, 2003. And I think that they can mix in a little bit of the original in that part and do it that way. And it'll just enhance it and it'll give a bigger ending to the short program, and it'll bring the components up by like 0.5 because it'll give a bigger boom to the end. Instead of like a sleepy thing throughout, I think let it be sleepy in the beginning and then boom. Okay. Because it's missing that little thing at the end.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I once got in an argument with Alexa over a music edit. Remember it well. But that's my opinion, and you know what? Take it or leave it, okay? But
you're really encouraging her to take it.
I'm encouraging her to take it. Jenny and I are thinking of doing a consulting service together for skaters. We think that we can really help the public.
100%.
So if you are interested, before we have it formalized, email me, because we think that we can help the Lindsay Thorngrins argue with your coach about your free skate music that I might feel is eating you, to Samson and Delilah. And we think that we can help.
Yeah, lovely.
And if you're Lindsay Thorngren, please wear a bun in the free. The ponytail is not a good way to debut as a senior. when you're going from junior to senior, but.
Dalila, no less. Like,
so.
Really throw it back in a scrunchie.
Otherwise, yeah, I think they're on the right track. I think we need Brandon to throw her a little bit more cohesively. But yes, I think
it was a good start. It was a good start. What was interesting to me here was like this like unseen coronation of Jessica and Brian as the judge's favorite. I felt there was a great deal of leniency given there, or clear preferential treatment.
So she has the Ashley Kane under rotations on her jumps, and I don't know if the judges are really.
Well, and he doesn't often do his, so that's also something to consider.
They've gotten away with this so far, is that she's not the cleanest rotator of jumps, but they have the overall best package right now in the US. She also seems to have some Lisa McKinnon originals, so we could say Lisa probably got about $4,000 from Alexa. I don't know, is there a deal when you do 2 pairs? But
yeah, like a BOGO from the same club or something.
It's worth every cent.
But I don't know that, again, we've hit the mark choreographically and music-wise. It's more kind of sleepy, soft rock, love music. And it's just kind of like.
And I think she has a little in her. She's got a little, she's got a tick-tick boom.
The music was sleepy. And Pairs, if you think about like what is so exciting about Pairs, it's because it has the biggest like wow features, the biggest like huge performance factor. And so for everyone to constantly insist on muting it seems not the right idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I agree. I think that they need a little bit more spark energy between them, a little more uniqueness, but I think that they'll get that confidence to do that if they have another successful season.
I don't think the international judges ever really going for this team though.
Jonathan, I'm trying to make a positive.
Sorry.
Me negative, Jonathan.
I think they're lovely. I mean, I do. They have lovely qualities and they seem
Here's what I think. I think that Jenny and Todd have a good training environment. I think that they're starting to figure out their team by having Raphael there work with the skaters, by having different components to this. I think we need to bring Renee Roca in-house. I think we need to have her with these teams.
Yeah.
From the Stars on Ice days, we could put the package together. There are some good people in California that they seem to have a really good environment. They have about 5 top pairs, and I know Megan Westenberg is out there training for pairs. So they have a lot of competition. It doesn't seem like they're overrun with teams. I have heard that Jenny and Todd are interesting in the fact that they have the skaters work with them on training plans. They're not going to be the ones to scream at you to do it for run through. That has to come from the skater. And that could be a positive or negative, for depending on who the skater is. And I think that it does lend to accountability. So you can decide if that's a good or bad thing. I think
taking ownership of your own skating, which of course, as we know, is when most people really come into their own. Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what happens, but I do think that they need to work on their side-by-side jumps. The rest, they do have the best overall look, and the judges seem to like them. And it's interesting because I would imagine that Ashley Kane thought that she would be really coming into her own, especially after they won nationals. They have a documentary coming out. Allegedly, he had a concussion over the summer, so I think they lost some training time there. But they both, to me, looked like they had been off the ice. And I don't think they were off the ice as long in Texas as other teams. There's something about Kane and LeDuc that I think that they have some challenges. The height is harder for a pair team.
I'll tell you, one time they utilized the height. I thought they owned it when she went up into a lift and her legs were in a total V and they just let themselves take up space, I felt. And I thought, if you're gonna be this, it's clear they're not splitting, right? It's clear they're just gonna ride this out. So then at least ride it out and actually over-exaggerate the height. Make us not notice anything but it. And you guys are gonna be that interesting tall pair. Instead they seem to skate like they're someone else. Again, so I get an inherent disconnect, and the Rachmaninoff to me was such a giant, when we said Medvedeva, it was more apparent maybe what her skating skills needed still. When we gave her more of a Sandra David program, that became more apparent. I found when Ashley and Tim went to the Rachmaninoff, it was more glaringly obvious where they could improve.
Do you remember when Ashley and Tim would always do the side-by-side spirals, but they would both get great height and extension, but their legs wouldn't match?
Right.
To me, that's the epitome of their skating. They have big things. They both have two unique talents, but it's never meshed. And they work with Elton John, Nina Mosier, when they should be working with Tamara Moskvina.
Right.
It's so hysterical to me, as if you rewatch their ISP, this to me is the epitome of Kane and LeDuc and everything that they're trying. And they're trying to make improvements, but it's not working right. And I think some of it is who's coaching them in the rink.
Right.
Day to day. I don't think that they have coaches with the level of experience and expertise that they are trying to achieve. So they do the throw triplets. Of course, it's a Kane and LeDuc throw triplets. You know that it's going to have a horrible landing. And then she tries to do like the Russian extension exit after she completely bites it. And then, but we go for the exit anyway, but it just seemed laughable.
And they are a Moskvina-esque team. They are a team that needs
creativity.
Assistance. Yeah, they need to be owning that unique quality, and they've sort of yet to find it.
And it's Elton John. I think, what are we getting from Nina? I don't know. But I think that they want to. I think they have the hunger, but it's not being directed in the right areas. I think obviously he was injured. It explains some of the lifts. They're not a team that the lifts are their strength. The way I look at it is we'll probably have two teams for the Olympics. So I would look that we have really three.
We'll have two.
I think that there's a good chance we'll have two.
Okay.
If there's, who knows, if there's worlds, not worlds this year, you know, we don't know yet. But when you look at it, and if there's only one, I think it's still the same three teams that are in contention. It's Cal Lang and Johnson. I think it's going to be Alexa and Brandon. I think it's going to be Ashley and Tim. And I think it's going to be which one of those teams really.
Because, I mean, obviously the one you've removed from the conversation is Danny and Tara.
I don't understand how they're in the conversation. And I think that all signs of their coaching change after the ISP, after that horrible performance, tell you that. I mean, it was bad, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think it was Delilah's fault. Okay? I am no Delilah apologist, Jonathan.
I know that. Yeah, same.
I do not believe that that is Delilah's fault at all.
Yeah. Well, maybe in as much as she didn't stop what was happening or whatever, but I mean, it's clear whatever issues they had going there were not remedied there.
I've heard that Jim would water down their programs every year before nationals so that they could get through. Look, they have never pushed beyond the technical max that we saw when they won the 2016 nationals, which many people felt was a US political gift. There are many people that think internationally that would have gone the reverse way.
Yeah.
They got it. Quality-wise is never improved. I think they were supposed to go to Delilah for the twist, and that didn't really.
And even the twist, which I think it's clear Delilah can do, it didn't really seem to improve as much as one thought maybe it could have.
So I'll be curious where they go. She commented on his status with an alligator and a palm tree, which seems to indicate Florida. And Jim just moved to Detroit, so I would imagine they're having tryouts with Zueva and with
Well, that could be interesting.
I mean, what is Marina going to do for them in 14 months? Can you fix Tara Kane's skating skills in that amount of time? I don't think so, but can she make them train? I think maybe she can work her psychological voodoo on Tara, but
I think that's what's the most necessary. I mean, even in these programs, I have to say, again, also not a Delilah, super fan. Actually, these two programs weren't horrible to me.
no.
They were not pieces of art. They were not things that they've done in the past, but the short obviously was fine. And then the Carmen, again, if you just watch in the opening, if you just watch like Danny's back and his movement, he really is quite graceful. But it's Tara that just throws me out of it. And again, this is another one of those Carmens where I was like, are you telling the story? Are you not telling the story? Like, do it or don't, you know?
I think that the short that they had before they got rid of it for this schmaltzy Claire de Lune, Tara Kane and Danny O'Shea try to do Claire de Lune. That's a skating skills type piece where you need a much higher skating ability than they have. But that's Delilah being more conservative than the piece that they were doing last year. I think that was a wrong choice. I would get a different short program and I would work with the Carmen through the Olympics. They seem like a team that keep the program along for 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think they're kicking the can down the road. I think they either have to get in or get out and train really hard or.
Well, because, and again, it was so clear when they made that statement that they also reiterated they will not split.
Right. So that's, but they don't have a coach lined up. I'm sure they're on tryouts. I'm sure Jim is in the mix, but I am sure Danny's dad is pretty smart from what everyone says. I would imagine he's looking who can get them where they want to go. I think if you were to look at Marina, she has Tarasov and Morozov, so it's probably not that big of a stretch to throw Tara and Danny in there. Also, she seems, Haven Denny was just in Delilah's camp trying out with, I believe, TJ there, but it didn't manifest. So I think she's back in Florida. And isn't that interesting? Because, of course, Alexa is skating with Haven's old partner. Alexa and Tara, longtime rivals. Now, all of a sudden, Tara is buddy-buddy with Haven. So might she be going to a rink where Haven is? I mean, Haven's trained with everyone in the country, basically. So she's trained with both Marina and Zimmerman. So I think she could go either way. But I would, that's the way I think the smoke signals are reading. But it's just fascinating. I will be very curious to see.
And why now? I mean, I'm sure.
Why now? Because we have 14 months to the Olympics. Tara and Danny performed what looked like, you know, usually we don't see them publicly at Champs Camp. If I were the parent paying the bills and I saw what they actually looked like at the virtual Champs Camp compared to other teams, which parents don't usually see, and I saw how far behind they are of other teams, and they're a team that seems to procrastinate until nationals every year. They rarely break through on the Grand Prix. And I can see with my own eyes how they look compared to the other teams. I would be like, get them out of there. We need to do something different or quit. So that's what I think. I mean, you can literally see how they measure up at virtual Champs Camp compared to the other teams.
Right.
Something is not working.
Right.
What place were they? 27th? I don't know. It was not good.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They weren't off the ice for that long.
Really be in the mix there.
Yeah. So that was my thought there. How about the ladies? So this, you know, some of our top ladies didn't do the first round. We did not see Ting. We did not see Emily Zhang. Hannah Harrell's still injured. And we didn't see full Amber Glenn. Remember, she's
right. She fell out of the tank.
Right. And we didn't see Alyssa Liu. Where was Alyssa Liu? She was supposed to do an Olympic Channel article that they canceled, according to a coach in their rink. And we have all this new thing. Alyssa Liu skated all during quarantine. Where was she? Here.
Did she withdraw, or did she just never?
Well, there's a second opportunity. We'll have to see. People said that she's in pictures where she looks taller. I would wonder if the quads and triple axel are present at this. Why would a skater go that dark? That to me seems like something is not positive at this point in time. And I think everyone has their eye on, she's working with an ice dance coach and she's supposed to be working with Lee Barkel over Zoom. Come on, we're all looking at this with a side eye saying, what is going to happen?
Right.
Is that this doesn't seem traditional / workable. This doesn't have the keys to success. And I'm very curious to see what happens there.
Yeah. Although, if she can do anything, she should still be in pretty good stead. Because I thought this was a pretty rough outing for some of the ladies here. And I have to say, I think that it's always so hard at this point in the season, for me in particular, as if I'm just acknowledging, just like a super fan, like watching, and then not necessarily knowing. I know a part in the operatic process. When you're in an early rehearsal, certain administrators will get nervous about a singer. They'll be like, it's not going well, like, what's the problem? And then as a singer, I can be like, oh, that's just like in process stuff. Like, don't worry about that. And other times I'm like, yeah, you kind of should be worried. This is never going to happen. This is a big deal. So like when I see the implosion that I saw in Brady here, I don't know if these are normal parts of growing pains or if this is maybe a sign that she is making a huge mistake. They're back to the Lutz loop.
Are we going to Brady?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was the real story here. Outside of Courtney Hicks. No, I'm just...
Brady Snell.
Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to just be like, Jonathan, don't be so harsh yet because she's just figuring this out, the new move, or if I'm like, what have you done?
We know what she did.
I know, and I know that's, of course, where I'm like, what did you think was going to happen, Brady? Like, she's wearing a leather coat or something, and
Tom Z.
The jumps are squirrelier.
She wasn't jumping full time this week, I imagine, which speaks to injury. We cannot say that that was caused by Tom Z because she has had several back injuries, at least 2 over the years. But she's in an older state. She has a very stiff body. I don't think that this big triple axel is just going to happen overnight.
Well, and it seems like you have plenty to work out before you think about the triple axel. That suddenly, it's not like we're starting here and now we're going to add the triple axel. We've like regressed.
I think the best thing that could happen to Brady is that they have the best physical therapists at the Olympic Training Center, probably in the country, right? So they could work with her, get her where she needs to be to do these jumps. Her other big is still the on-ice personality, which obviously Tom has not proven he has any clue about over the years.
And I have to
think about how he packaged Rachel Flatt and how wrong that was.
Yeah.
And that when Rachel packaged herself, she did it so much better.
It was totally fine. In 2014, you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think, it's tough because I think Brady is a really hard worker and really wants it, but everything that she was doing there seems like it was designed for points, but not for a human element that was tied in. Do we really think Brady to now? Think of how many of her jumps looked under-rotated.
Well, and in the same way, when she went to Mishan, she absorbed everything instantly, and he was like, uh-oh, we're creating a monster. And then turn it around, and she's now invested in another group, and taking in all that information has led to much different jumping aesthetics.
I mean, the kinds of things people were saying about Brady this week were not kind.
Yeah, I know that she's probably trying her best. Like, I like her because I take her as a serious student. I don't understand what this move was about.
I mean, I think this move was about funding, about moving away from home and living in a free dorm, about there are certain logistics as a US athlete that I think fell into Tom Z's lap.
There are other options available to her then.
Yes. Yes. And I don't know that she has the positive momentum going to make another Olympic Games doing what she's doing now. Maybe.
Who do you see taking that spot? I mean, that's the interesting thing here. It's like, okay, so Brady seemed very much in trouble, but then I was like, aside from Mariah and then potentially an Alyssa Liu.
I think you could look at some combination of Alyssa or Ting or
I mean, in my heart of hearts,
Emily Zhang, or like someone somehow getting it together. I mean, imagine if Alexia Paganini had not gone to another country. It would be so easy to just send Mariah Bell and Alexia, and that's a respectable duo.
Although I have to tell you, Alexia at Nebelhorn was far worse than Brady was at ISP.
I don't agree.
Speaking.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I thought Brady was pretty horrific.
Okay.
I saw nothing positive about her skating. I thought the jumps looked way worse. I thought the program was terrible. I thought like she has not really worked on her performance ability. I didn't think the packaging was any good. I don't see any point of view in Brady's skating.
Real step back in the presentation and in the cleanliness of the jumps.
At least Alexia, though she struggles with the triple Lutz, and I think that it's gotten worse since she's been with Lambiel, who may not be like as much of a technician, I thought that her performance quality went up.
Yeah.
I thought that she looked improved in that sense, and she really struggles. Remember she did the movie that everyone was doing with the California, Ashley Wagner, you know, it never, La La Land. She never had any charisma or to that music, and she had the blue dress, and it was just so dull because she wasn't using her face. Lambiel is at least making her try something.
Yeah.
And it was hysterical to me to watch her free program because she is using what I consider to be the most quintessential Nikolai Morozov piece of music of all time, which is what Pogorelaya used in 2017. Da, 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 da. You know, it's the Pasha Grishuk with people singing over it.
Right.
Piece, the Memorial Requiem with Michael Nyman with someone singing on top. And having Lambiel do it, but she does look better. I think she should invest in going probably to like Tracy and Karen, train with Jason Brown, because I think they need more technical help than maybe Lambiel is able to give. But I think he can do good programs and work on that. Her Lutz has always been a problem. They went to Frank Carroll for it. They've been around the block for that triple Lutz, but it looks like she's lost it again. Yeah. But Brady, I thought, nothing positive to say. You know, she's.
So do you think she will try again in early October?
Why not? I mean,
I would hope that she does, and that
unless she's too injured where it wouldn't give a positive performance.
No,
that's what we expect from Tomsy, right? I mean, where was Vincent? Now, Mariah Bell. I think she's in a great shot to be national champion based on the fact that where is Alyssa?
Right.
Although they have months to figure that out. And obviously I think that the USFS has spent so much money, political capital getting behind Alyssa. I don't think that they're going to abandon her yet. I think that they will still pretend that she is the saving grace who is going to somehow beat Russia.
Yeah.
The Mariah Bell ABBA program.
You know what? It reminded me of like something I would have heard in '91. Do you know what I mean? It was like, suddenly it was Dancing Queen. Then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, it was The Winner Takes It All. And then all of a sudden she's like doing the remix at the end. It was so chopped so harshly. Like, like a Tanya edit. Like suddenly we're in Batman, suddenly we're in something else.
I am way more of a fan of Adam Rapon than you are. I'm way more supportive of his media career. I'm way more supportive of him as a coach. I'm way more supportive of him being at the Olympics. I felt like this program felt like Adam Rippon was making a mixtape for Kelly.
Yeah, it had a mixtape quality to it, which actually
just pressing random record on his serial cassette player.
You know
I
what?
don't know what
Here, then go for it. Like put on.
She's going into a jump, and literally the music changes from the first to the second piece.
Yeah.
Start with the fun piece of music with like a Jenny Kirk shimmy. Look, I think Adam is clearly helping her train. I think he's a good coach for Mariah. Choreographer, not yet at that level. You know, he might be a good choreographer for like a fun intermediate girl, a fun juvenile girl who wants to
do a show program.
Good show program. I don't think he is as experienced enough to help Mariah get to the next level.
Well, and kind of knowing what sort of content is going to solidify her move up, because she's really poised to make one if it's the right material.
Then we're going into that Mariah Nagasu piece of music, The Winner Takes It All.
Pretty abruptly, and then we stay there for a really long time.
I have to say that she has a couple nice things that they took from Ashley's program that they then put in Mariah's. And then I do like the piece when she does the first LUTs on the music, but she didn't have a triple here, and people were side-eyeing her technical content. Overall, I think Mariah Bell looks stronger. It looks like she's really working hard to maximize the elements that she has. I don't think we're pretending that Mariah Bell is going to get a triple axel, because I don't see that happening before the Olympics. And it looks like she, if she does what she can do, will be good. Her edge jumps, she has some of the craziest landings of all time, where she will be so tilted in the air. And I think, and why it happens would be fascinating to really study with how she's pulling. She's very tall, has a little bit of an awkward body, that she is so tilted in the air, but pulls them out. And you could tell that she really works with that personal trainer. I think she works with who Ashley and Adam worked with.
Okay.
That is saving those jumps more than anything that she is doing technically. That girl has learned how to land.
Yeah.
I think that shows that she's feisty. I mean, she allegedly kicked a skater on purpose, so we may know that she's feisty. Whatever, Jonathan, it happened, okay? It happened.
There was an incident.
Listen, I just know that if I'm sharing the ice with Mariah Bell and her music is in the line, I am never going to pull it out, because I don't want her coming up to me close on the sides of the board.
And then suddenly your career is never the same again.
Whether it's true or not, okay? I'm staying clear of Mariah Bell. If she wants to put her music on before mine,
let that dancing queen take up all the room by the edges.
all the time.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think it makes her more interesting. I'm intrigued by that Mariah Bell.
Yeah, you're like, Mariah Bell did that? Yeah.
It actually made me like both Mariah and Ensu more. Oh, I couldn't have loved them more.
I just feel bad because I felt.
Remember, I think that they should be at every Grand Prix together. Right. I think that this is what the sport needs to insist on happening.
Yeah. Did she put that down? Like, I mean, at the time, of course, she had to like disable comments on her social media and stuff. I wonder if that's all back up again.
I don't know, but how is Ensu doing? I want to know. I want to see her. Okay. How's the mother? How's it all happening? I'm there for it. Okay.
Didn't we see her quasi recently?
Not really. I don't think so.
I thought we saw her over the summer doing something.
I feel like we haven't seen Ensu in a while.
Okay. I feel like it's all a dizzy blur, Dave.
Listen, that entire movie was like that Jennifer Jason Leigh. Remember, what's the movie from the 1992 where the one girl starts copying the other, and then she starts like trying to sleep with her boyfriend, and like the whole thing, like it was very Mariah and Ensu training together.
Okay.
Doing the same heart choreography.
I know, that was crazy, yeah.
Yes, the whole, amazing. I love the whole thing. People aren't going to get what movie I'm talking about, and they're going to be like, you're saying Ensu sleeping with Mariah's boyfriend. No, it's a movie I'm comparing it to.
Yeah.
What is that name of that movie? It's, oh my God, it's so campy, and it's so ridiculous.
I feel like I remember this plot. Like, this plot sounds totally familiar to me, but.
Well, ask your boyfriend. He's way more fun. It's with an S. Oh my God. I can't remember. The fans are going to be so annoying. Anyway, I digress. I think Jennifer Jason Leigh is in it.
Sybil. Just kidding. Then that's a C, the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, it's let me look. See, now I'm wasting time because of how annoying fans are. Single white female. There we go.
Oh, of course, of course.
Single white female. That was the Mariah and Ed.
You're right. Begins with an S. Begins with an S.
Tip of the tongue syndrome. Okay. Anyway, moving along. Everyone look up that trailer.
Meanwhile, Dave.
The Dancing Queen was horrific. It was horrible. But Mariah Bell is a fun girl, so I get why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But they need to change it. That
also, again,
Adam, I think you're fun, but I think this program is about as stylish as that coat that you wore at Nationals that just had
the plaster, the advertisement you were wearing for Balenciaga.
Yeah. It had about the same taste level.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, skating always has a way of taking something and just being totally out of time. Like, there was like a brief bubble of moment that actually you could have ridden the coattails of Mamma Mia the movie or the musical, or like when it was a little fresher in the pop culture vernacular, and all of a sudden it just seems like that moment has passed also. So
this program is a no.
Yeah.
This program had the makings of people texting and with, have you seen the Mariah Bell program? Have you seen the ABBA program? Have you seen the ABBA program?
Yeah. And again,
the response was not positive.
Her qualities could easily put her on top of the podium this year, like you say.
They want to make her the national title.
Yeah. Don't make it difficult for them, please.
National champion. They want to give her the national title. They're making it very hard.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Unfortunately. Other things than that, I don't think that the other US ladies, you know, if you have anything nice, if you have nothing nice to say.
Yeah, I think the real stories there were Mariah and Brady, and we can leave it at that. Because the real story of my week, Dave Lee's, was Nina Simone singing Sinnerman and Jason Brown's short program. I couldn't get enough of it. It was magical. I think I loved his Prince program. I loved it back in the day, but I mean, that's like a totally different era, Jason. Like, this short program to me is like iconic for him. And there is that one point when he like slaps the ice and then jumps up and throws his arms up so in time with the music. It's sophisticated, every footwork thing with like these hops of the blade and the step sequence. Like, this is next level. I was so enamored by this program.
I think I'll raise you Jason Brown, but I'll say you are flat wrong.
Oh, what?
My moment of the week is Jason Brown's step sequence to choreographic sequence in Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Slaughter on 10th Avenue, whatever.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because as the music started, it's very reminiscent of other classical programs. So I started to Shazam it on my phone.
Da 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 da.
But I wasn't catching it. So I'm glad I couldn't find it online anymore.
Slaughter on 10th Avenue.
Okay.
Not the Kurt Vonnegut Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he is doing that move, and then he goes on his heel, and then he's going, oh, obsessed.
Just some of their finest output, I think.
So the short is Roheen, and it's amazing, and the free is David Wilson, and it's incredible. It is his best skate. I would have put him first at the ISP.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I would have as well, due to the quality of the jumps, even if they were less difficult. I'm really impressed that Roheen continues to go out of the box with Jason now. And it seems like David Wilson finally had that like melding moment.
I think they're really working. Well, David did the Schindler's List last year, which was so popular. Yeah. I think what they're doing with him is that they're finding his voice and they're working on his personality, and then next year they'll go back to lyrical. Like last year was lyrical, this year is more of a character piece where he's gonna have to really work on his Javier type self, and then next year they'll go back to lyrical because they're stretching him, and they're stretching so that he'll have to work harder for the components this year, but I think he's doing it and it's unique, and we're doing the opposite of Papadakis and Cizeron do from year to year. He's giving us something completely different so that we don't get tired of when Jason goes back to lyrical for the Olympic year.
Right. Right. And I mean, I'll tell you, he looked faster than ever. And it was interesting to kind of hear after he came out, I think it was the axel in the free skate. He almost slowed. And that's when you heard the voice barking like, go, go, go. And then suddenly he turned around and sped up again. And you were like, this kind of work and that like linking up of like speed through the movements, incredible. It like, step to step, there's so much speed and energy and cleanliness to it.
And I want it on a big screen because he does something really cool after the triple axel combination that he did. It's the second triple axel pass, but I could not fully see exactly what was happening because he's coming towards the camera. And
yes, when he did like, it's like kind of this leap thing.
Yes.
Yes, and that was exactly when, I don't know, I pretended it was Brian. I don't know who was yelling, but that was when they were like, give it an extra oomph right after that axel. And he totally did. It was great.
Yeah. So apparently Brian is working with him more right now. But Karen Preston is really his main technical coach. Obviously Tracy is the genius. Oh, apparently Tracy does crossovers different than the rest of the world with how she does it. And she has a different theory on crossovers, and it's to save energy for later on in the program. Interesting little like nugget. I think we all need to investigate this Tracy Wilson edge class.
Go back to some Rob McCall, Tracy.
It was her birthday the other day.
It was whose birthday?
It was Tracy Wilson. She was celebrating on like the cottage with her family.
Nice.
Looking like a real queen. Oh yes.
Deservedly so.
Our favorite.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
She looks great. Young as ever.
Yeah,
Only in the skating world.
Her aura is so good.
So,
but I thought.
Apparently, Tracy loves Pilates. Apparently, she's obsessed.
Interesting.
We need to find out more.
Yeah, tell us more, Tracy.
Tracy is really the brains of that operation.
I think so.
She's running it.
And again,
Think about it.
Jason.
She had a flighty gay partner. She is running that show, okay? She has been dealing with this for years. Okay?
Exactly. She knows how to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think of Nathan's new material? Yeah, that's exactly right. I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. Like, it didn't like make me feel anything, but I was like, you're checking boxes, I guess.
he needs to go back to Lori for the Olympic year.
Yeah, because it seems like in the meantime, we're just kind of spinning wheels in between jumps.
I like Shaylin choreography. I like what Marie France and they've done with him. They've given him a persona and a personality on the ice. He is going to go down as one of the great skaters of all time. And I believe that he needs a program that is on that same level.
Yeah, because as much as like we hear the name Nathan Chen, and again, we've talked about it, like when I'm going to show like a non-skating person skating, they're not engaged by Nathan Chen.
I think they're engaged with the quads. And I do think that the ending of Elton John was so cool and so unique and fun and accessible. But in terms of art, you watch Jason Brown, granted he's not doing the same quads.
Right.
You watch Nathan, even with Nathan's quads, and I say this with complete respect for his ability, I personally would rather watch Jason.
Yeah,
there are many people who would say the opposite and say that it's a sport and they would rather watch Nathan, and I would say that they have a complete point of view. I personally would rather watch Jason Brown.
Yeah, same.
But I think Nathan is incredible.
Yeah.
But I thought it was nice. I think there's room for Hanyu to compete with him.
Yes, and that's what I thought. I was like, you have, these sorts of programs are allowing the judges to go a different way if you both hit, because the quality will be higher more often than not with Hanyu's technical elements, even though they're easier. Mm-hmm. The transitions are more sophisticated and the program is more palatable.
I just feel with Nathan, the spins could be better. The camel, the flying camel especially. This choreography, the steps, I think that they really need to focus more in establishing his technical program, what he has, and then maximizing everything with it, because I think Yuzuru Hanyu has like a lot of months to come up with his Olympic strategy, get new programs. Hopefully they're very different than what he's done, and come up with something amazing. And with Nathan, there's always this shifting.
Even if they're what they've been, they're just so much more sophisticated than Nathan.
I never understand, why is he doing a quad lutz in one program and then not in the next? Like, what is happening with this? We still have these shifting quads. So obviously he's training the lutz, the flip, the sow, and the toe a lot of times a day to be able to do them in programs.
Right.
So it's not like he's saving his body by doing a quad lutz in one program and not another. But
right.
It's like this shifting thing that I think it's like still the same kind of disorganization from the Olympics in 2018.
Yeah.
I don't understand that strategy.
Even that Trusova thing, when it was like different technical content at every competition. I just don't understand how, when we know that so much of skating success is relied on training and the plan and trusting and letting and all this sort of stuff, if there's always like a gamble or something's up in the air, I don't know how you can center yourself the same way.
Yeah.
So
Nathan's programs with his jump, it always feels like it's Oksana Bayul and she just doubled and triple toe and we're going to change the whole end of the program, something we've never done before. Why is this the strategy?
Right, right. There you go.
I don't know. I mean, look, he can do them all. He showed that he can do them all. I believe it. I think when he is fully trained and ready to go, he will be very difficult to beat for these other men because he's can put out the quads consistently. But I don't think the program said anything to me. I thought they were nice.
It was just a vehicle for the jumps. It was not a jump drill as offensive as like other skaters who have great technical content. It's not you know, that lopsided, but it needs to be special if you're up against a lot of these other guys. So.
Otherwise, I thought Tomoki and Jimmy Ma, they've got to get really consistent. Jimmy Ma looks like skating is a hobby and it needs to be his job because he has so much more.
I wish someone would encourage him to take it more seriously because I think he's closer to the top than he thinks.
He reminds me of one of the lost boys in Peter Pan. Like, is he the boy that has the skunk costume on, or which one is he? But he's a boy who needs to be a man out there and like go for what he wants and really train really hard every day and really get consistent. And he looks like he's like following around another skater or something. Like he's a follower instead of a leader. And he is so good. He has a certain quality to
He has more than almost any other man in the US, maybe save Jason, excuse me. That sort of performance thing. When he did that like short program that one time, I think it was 2018, that was the moment of that short program. Of that entire day was that he has this thing. And again, he was one, the speaker system was so poor in his arena, it was even hard to hear the music. But he has this quality, and the jumps have some like kind of big natural height and spin to them. But you always know it's just like, again, completely chaotic what's coming in, or is how it comes across. But I think he could be in that mix because Tomoki just keeps churning out Tomoki. You're like, right, that's Tomoki. It's like, it's all there, but yet it's not really firing.
It almost seems like every season with Tomoki, he does well at nationals. He does well from like January to February. He really kind of hits his sweet spot. And then we get to the next fall and we're like, maybe Tomoki will do something this year. Then he has some weird Pagliacci program that makes no sense for him.
Right.
And he's an inconsistent mess. And it was like, wait, when we last saw you, you looked this good and now you're back here.
We're right there. Yeah, it seems like he's always like right there and then goes away.
Then he'll climb again and he'll be third or fourth.
Yeah.
It's the same story. And I don't think the judges have any reason to trust him, so then they'll just go with Vincent Zoe.
Yeah.
It's infuriating.
I don't know how, if there are 3 spots, it would be anyone right now but Nathan, Vincent, and Jason.
I think the skaters, I hear people talking about Ilya Malinin is quite talented. Max Naumov was shown. There were a lot of skaters around that rink. He's a very strong jumper. I would look at them as being potentials because I think Camden and Torgashev, we have not seen them develop into anything.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it's almost past the time to bail and invest elsewhere, you know, but like you always hope.
Now, did you see? I have never seen a costume since Rudy Galindo at the World Pros when he had frosted tips and silver lame pants that looked more like we were going to a gay club until Deniss Vasiļjevs at Nebelhorn, Jonathan. That mesh see-through shirt.
Yeah.
If I drank and did club drugs, I would want that shirt. I think it's perfect for Fire Island. I think it's perfect for P-Town. That shirt, what did Lambiel design that? Like, what are we?
On the back at first, it like on my TV, like when I just saw the back was sheer and there was like the one strip, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's like chic. And then he turned around and I was like, it is not. It is not. And he looks like he's grown. He looks so much older to me. Like he seems to have.
Boy, he's a man now. What do you say?
Kinda.
I don't know.
And landed the quad.
Yes.
In the free. I was like, okay.
He has to fight for that Lambiel attention now that we have.
And then he did a pop, you know, Lutz into a double toe. But I mean, you're just kind of like, but he seems so much more present. Like, I feel he's coming of age in the way that also he's showing more personality, like when he finishes and when he's in the kiss and cry, like you forget that these are people still evolving, you know what I mean? And so it was interesting to sort of see him step it up. Because there could be a European medal for him one day if he gets his act together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matteo Rizzo, tough outing.
I know, and we like him so much.
But what about the junior, the Italian junior champion who was second here? I knew I should have written it down. There was something like, oh, when he did his combination in the short program. He did one of those like crazy, he almost lost it off of the triple toe and just threw his arms up and pretended he was doing a twizzling exit transition. It was the funniest thing I had ever seen. It was a great cover.
How about the commentator at this event? First of all, if anyone's going to be commentating in English, just how Alyona Sevchenko do it, okay? We all want to hear her.
Or Katerina.
Have them together.
Yes, with Yuta Miller. It's like she's on site.
Well, Katerina and Alyona commentating together.
It would be a dream come true. This girl almost had an, is it AMSR? She kind of, and she would be like, there was emotion. Good for him.
She reminds me of, I have some secret Russian ninjas that will like send me articles and then like write in voice memo what it's about, right? And they will like send it. And it's gotten so much that, you know that on the Russian message boards, they try to figure out who our sources from Russia are.
They want to know who your whistleblower is.
Because, you know, like Marina Hoffman will write on there about different.
But you know what put it in so much more perspective though, Dave, was when we had Ira. Who was on last week?
Ari,
Jesus, dyslexia. Okay, when Ari was on, and he was really describing figure skating as Russia's #1 sport. And then when you really let that settle in and you think like how idiotic so many people are when these Joe Blows talk about football or basketball, you're like, oh yeah, now it makes more sense why it's so convoluted, some of the fan comments.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes, Ari Zakarian, who Galina said, he wasn't really a competitor. He everybody's friend. You know, everybody love it, Ari.
That's who becomes an agent, is the guy who's everybody's friend. Come on, he did that just right then.
He told us he got into Russia by flying on a private jet. Victor is stuck in Ukraine, can't get into Russia.
Just saying, yeah.
Ari Zakarian got there, okay?
Friends with everybody.
Why we love him, okay? He translated for Svetlana Horkina, okay? This is a legend, all right?
It's true, it's true. Did you have any dance comments from ISP? To me,
Prince program.
Yeah.
Green and Parsons. Obsessed.
Really?
Obsessed. Yes.
Okay.
He needs to match his energy. He is shaking his tail feather.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. She needs to match it. Okay.
Yeah, she's at the moment. It seems like there's a disconnect.
She needs a glitzier dress. Okay. You need to look like you're a girl in a Prince video, and you need to be giving a little bit more. She has some cool things. She needs to give it even more ice dance girl energy, especially because they keep going conservative for Ponomarenko. So if Igor Spielbein is going to go conservative for Ponomarenko, you need to give flash and razzle dazzle and makeup.
But that gap seemed to really widen here.
Because I think that there was some speed and some technical things, but I think that Green and Parsons are doing a much more difficult program to be high energy for 4 minutes than it is to be doing another Dr. Zhivago.
Right.
I mean, that's easy.
Right. Agreed.
But I think he looks strong to me. Ponomarenko.
Yeah.
Physically very strong. I think he still needs to work more on the skating skills and to give us more actual, like.
Well, they had some twizzle moments that were shaky.
He needs to be a little bit more scissoron in his skating skills, but he's very physically strong. And I think that they can go toe to toe with Hawaii and Baker if they keep training. Being Igor's #1 team, is she going to get citizenship? I don't know. I think she's more talented than Melania, but others may not in the country. I think she is. You say tomato, I say tomato. You know, I don't know. Like, are we going to give her citizenship? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they not into pewter medalists in ice dance? I don't know. Like, what?
It wasn't a priority for them to push through.
Did Tanith get it because she was a child model? I don't know, okay? But I think that this team, if they have citizenship, makes Hawaii and Baker a little bit nervous.
Well, especially internationally, because again, we have national politics playing.
Oh, internationally, he's great friends with the Terry, of course.
You know,
Why do you think he is spending so much time on a deaf ice dancer, Jonathan?
Right. What? Sorry, I did it again.
Jonathan, I tell you every week to not make these jokes.
I know, it's so ingrained, Dave. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to leave this in so that people know that I am the nicer one.
Wait, did you watch Dancing with the Stars?
Jonathan, so bad.
It was so... Okay, there were so many live snafus that they wouldn't let any of the judges say more than one word, and then Tyra would have 25 minutes to meander in a nonsensical interview with a contestant. Even after it had come to a natural close, she was told to keep going, and it was just...
We've never realized how talented Tom Bergeron actually is before.
Or the producers around them. This was a big fail last week. That was a huge disaster.
You know, the rumor is always that she's a complete nightmare. And if you've heard anything Jay Manuel's book over the summer, I believe it.
Especially if you're doing it live. Like, I see how she could be cleaned up and edited to be so incredible, but you put that live. And again, some of the judges' commentary here, unlike some of these other shows, occasionally provide an actual kernel of information instead
Who's your favorite judge?
I mean, I know he's over the top, but the little one who does like the...
Bruno.
Yeah.
Do you not know the names of the judges on Dancing with the Stars? That's like not knowing Simon, Paula, and Randy, okay? And what they're going to give you.
Well, I mean,
Jonathan, let me explain to you judges on these shows and what they give us. Simon would be like, it sounded like cats screeching. Paula would be like, the song is beautiful, and so are you tonight. And then Randy would go, I don't know, dog. Wasn't so cool for me. Bit pitchy, eh? And then you have Dancing with the Stars. You have...
Mariah and ABBA.
Mariah and ABBA. I saw a lift. And I told you not to choreograph it in there. And you know what? We have rules on this show.
I remember that line.
We've never gotten a handbook about like which week lifts are. Like,
but I'm sure they did.
Why don't we have a PDF of the Dancing with the Stars rule? And the only rule is when we're allowed to have lifts. Okay, that seems to be the only rule in the show.
You only apply it when you feel like it.
And Carrie Ann is the only one that knows this rule.
Okay.
we have Bruno, who's like, the music is you, and we are here, and all.
That part with him, you know, I'm a little eye-rolly, but I'm sure.
Without an audience, it is so tough, right?
Yeah. Yes, I agree. Even though they're doing a pretty good job at like piping every response in, which is a little odd. But when you
we don't get the sob stories with the people in the audience. Like, we don't have AJ talking about his addiction and then like mentioning his mother and how he wanted to be sober for her and then having her in the audience. Then like we're crying and they're.
But do they wait because they know he'll be on later episodes? You know what I mean? Like,
right, but like we usually, I mean, didn't you want to see Tara Lipinski in the audience for Johnny and be like, oh, what's she gonna wear? Who's gonna be there for Johnny Weir? Is Gaga's mom gonna be in the audience? Like, this is the kind of stuff that we're missing out on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, we forgot to mention last week. Johnny Weir inflated his resume in the first week.
Yeah, he did say world medals, plural.
There was a plural. I rewound that 5 times, and he said world medals.
Well, again,
Jonathan, he has 1 world medal, and it's because someone did too many combinations in the free skate, okay?
I know. But I also think, like, I don't know if that's intended to design to say international medals. It's like...
I don't know. Then this week, I was like, when did Gaga give him the... why was he conflating his exhibition in 2009 with his short program from 2012? And when did we get the instrumental? Did Gaga give it to him? Because he seemed to like conflate those 2 things together, and it was getting very confusing.
Well,
I know that he has 1 shtick, but he needs to be more in time to poker face. And goddamn, get a new gimmick.
Yeah.
And why do they keep trying to make him sexy with see-through and cutouts and... I'm disturbed.
Well, the pants this week, yeah.
Pants and the chest.
Yeah, it was unusual. And I would think it's unusual for someone like him when your persona is the outrageous big one. It also means you have spotlight. You're the one we're all focused on. But you're in a room of crazies. From Tyra Banks to Carol Baskin, like Johnny Weir suddenly is just middling. And I would imagine it's hard as a performer to kind of like...
How is he more awkward than watching Monica Aldama, who is in the middle of a sex scandal with all of her cheerleaders, and not the first one at Navarro College, or Carol Baskin, who allegedly killed her husband. And yet I feel more awkward watching Johnny being like, he's the ringer he's the skater. He's supposed to be... Then you think about how hard Meryl and Christy actually worked on this show. And how hard is Johnny working to be so nervous week 1 and forget his steps on week 2.
Yeah.
Imagine if he competed against Evan Lysacek. That's what we should have seen. I don't know. It was awful.
Well, you know what? It just is the same as when he was competing.
It's worse. He was naturally talented at skating.
Okay.
That tango was rough. It was
yeah, he's struggling to find his identity on the show. Like, he's not the one you leave talking about. I mean, it's really Carol.
I mean, yeah.
But there are a lot of ringers on this particular season with AJ and Nelly and the other performers. There's the black actress, was she on like Disney Channel or something like that, who was so exquisite on the first week.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's a tough watch. I have to DVR it and fast forward.
Yeah, it's really, and it's so long.
So long.
Of like awkward silences. Like,
and it used to be 2 nights. Remember, we used to have the first night, which would be 2. This is how good, well-produced, interesting, and popular it was, that we used to have the first night, and then the second night, they would have people perform, and they would recap the first night, and they would do all of this stuff just for a results show.
Right.
Awkward.
Yeah.
It's impossibly long.
Yeah.
And now we have Tyra without...
With Tyra's, like, meandering interviews.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's real rough. Real rough.
It's like listening to Ted Barton. It really...
I'd rather listen to Ted Barton.
No.
Yes. Then Tyra awkwardly interview.
No. Tyra is giving you fashion. She's giving you a catwalk at the beginning of every show.
The sponge on the first day. That's what she gave me.
I'm at least there. There are people tweeting about her. I'm more entertained. Okay.
Yeah, a vote her off. What if that was the big twist? Is if America could like text in and vote Tyra off next week instead of a dancer?
Now, do you know that there's a text message scandal going on in Russia right now?
I can honestly say that no, I do not. Do tell. Do text.
It started with a Terry.
Should have known.
Or did it start with the No, it started with. So apparently it's illegal in Russia for one person to post a text message conversation without another person's consent.
Oh, interesting.
But now we're getting into the poaching scandals of, did Yana try to poach Alina? Or did Alina also reach out to Yana about show? Like, what is the real story? And who's lying? And why do I feel like they're all going to just shut up about it? Because I don't think the truth is good for anyone. That's my theory. I have a theory. I can't prove it. Okay.
Yeah, keep the speculation going.
Were people looking for greener pastures? I mean, it's possible. Okay. But Terry came up with a text message conversations that I'm making a whole video series about this. Yana clapped back. And then Plushenko and his wife came up with like an imaginary text message conversation about a Terry wanting to take all your money. I mean, it's getting so dirty, but it's fascinating.
Sounds like that's how some of those people play. You don't beat the mob by not playing dirty.
I know. It's great. It is.
No.
And then you have a Terry's sisters. And remember, she still only follows one of her sisters on Instagram, but they all support her publicly. And they all had this like stop sign for stop poaching, I think it was about this week. Oh my God, it is.
Help save a Terry. Like a GoFundMe.
How amazing is it that you have all of your siblings supporting you and you don't even follow some of them on social media? If I could get away with not following my family members on social media, can you imagine?
That's like every commercial now. It's like, I requested you.
I love it. I love it so much. Yes, there's so much like little stuff. And Kolyada, there was a test skate in St. Petersburg. We didn't get video, but Kolyada did well.
Oh, I'm so excited. His narrative is one of my favorite this season. Yeah.
So we just have to keep going. We have to keep like praying that this is all.
Yeah. And Jason Brown, like in a week that I have to be honest, I was like I felt a little like, judgy in particular about like the overall output of skating that was happening this weekend. But to see Jason's short program for me in particular, but yes, both programs, I was like, I am rewarded.
They posted the ladies and then they took the link down because they were getting rid of Gracie Gold, and then it reappeared. But then there was a second stream where Gracie Gold's video was. So the Gracie Gold video is on Patreon, everyone.
Was there any dialogue around that? We know that the video was there. Did a Lutz, did a flip, did a loop. She looked in much better.
It's impossible to discuss Gracie Gold skating because fans project onto it what they want to see, and speaking about it in an objective way will not win anyone any points.
She is much farther ahead at this point in the season than she was last year at this point in the season.
Is she?
Don't you think? Oh, I feel like when we saw her in like September of last year, it was much shakier. I don't know that we would have seen such a quality Lutz and flip out of her then, and loop. Even though the rest of the program was then all doubled and singled, but I think that like those first three elements, I don't know that she would have done that at this point last year.
All you need to know about Gracie and her entire competitive history, she now thinks that repeating a triple flip at the end of her program is the way to go.
That's the one. That might be the last one I would have ever recommended to try. But, you know, to each his own. To each his own. Best of luck.
Music choice, I mean, the whole, very on the nose, always, very literal. I think she needs to be with a coach who doesn't need her if she really wants to compete and skate.
Right. And it's okay to take some time away and decide. But
Well,
she's
I don't-
working towards a goal. Good for her.
what is her goal? If her goal is to make a run, I don't think she has time to take away.
Right.
That's not like
If she really wants the run. I mean, that was always my thing here was, have you taken enough time to know if you really want to make a run or not?
people said she looked better 3 months ago during quarantine skating. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. She's injured. She's not. Who knows?
But it's interesting, the poll that still is there, that then you could
people
not,
want her to succeed so badly.
that people will pull down the entire event, edit you out, and put it back up, as if it never happened, except it did.
And they posted her results.
Yeah,
That was the weirdest part about the whole thing.
right,
Then you're like, where's that video?
right. It's on Patreon.
It's on Patreon.
With the 2000 free skate for the ladies.
Which with our friend John, who people loved. So,
That was a fun one. That was a fun one.
and we're going to judge the 1999 ladies next. So I'm very excited.
We're working our way backwards.
We wanted to celebrate all the Russian queens. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
They
Exactly.
each need a moment.
It's true.
It was really all about Elena Lyashenko in the 2000 video and that entrance into her triple flip and triple Lutz.
Playing hacky sack, as we mentioned.
Hold it edge and look sexy, everyone.
Bye, guys.